Hey guys, it's the Alien Boy back again with yet another review video. Last time I reviewed the Push Along Thomas and Push Along Henry, so now this time we're going to be reviewing Diecast Push Along Gordon. And I gotta say, I'm really impressed by this model. Let's just go over the box first though, before we get into that. The box is pretty good. It's basically the same as Henry's. It's the same size, same pattern overall, except with Gordon's render on it. And I'm gonna be honest, Gordon's render is strange nonetheless. Like, I think, well, naturally, no, I think it's a completely different render. I was gonna say it might be his regular CGI render, but altered a little bit. But now that I look at it, I think it's slightly different. And in the face, I don't know. Gordon's face is like one of the faces that I'm more mixed on. And another thing that's really weird about this render is these. I'm not exactly sure why these are red. They're supposed to be black, but they're red. It's like with the Henry. It's like with Henry when his. Once again, I still don't know what those are called. I apologize for that. But they were colored white. Gordon's are red. Honestly, I have no idea what was going on behind the scenes with these when they were rendering these, but that doesn't matter. Anyways, let's look at the back. We see all the same stuff that was on Henry's packaging. We got Henry, James, Gordon, Eddie, Thomas, Joe, and Oliver. All the same stuff that we saw before. Everything, yeah, it's basically all the same. There isn't anything too interesting about that. So, yeah, I'm just gonna get them open because, you know, I just want. There isn't really too much to say about the packaging since it's basically the same as Henry's. So, yeah, let's get straight to that. Alright, so now that Gordon's out of the box, we can get rid of this now. And let's look at him. Here he is. Big blue guy himself, Gordon. I am really impressed with this model. He looks really, really good. Though, I gotta say, compared to Henry, he is a little bit more inconsistent. But let's start with the good stuff. First of all, I really like that he has all of his wheels, like all 10 wheels. I mean, all 12 wheels, sorry. All 12 wheels. They never did that for any of his diecast models. Like, the only time they did this was his Ertl toy, and maybe some other ones along the way. And that was like 20 years ago. That's crazy to think about. And now that they're back doing it again, it looks like. And it's really cool to look at. It's like really satisfying to see all the wheels there. I'm surprised they didn't do this with like his take and play mode because they did it on take and play Bell except the other way around. If they could do it there, why not on Gordon? Honestly, who knows? Another thing I like about this model is I really like his blue, like the dark blue, the dark shade of blue they gave him. It not only makes him look cooler, but it also kind of separates him from Thomas. They're already their own characters to begin with. They didn't really need to change the color of his livery, or at least the shade of his livery, but they did. And I gotta say, not too bad. I was a little bit on the edge. Like, I didn't like it at first, but I'm cool with it now. Another thing I must say is that his express color, I really like that he has 2 lamps on him, just like in the TV show, because for those of you guys who know about steam engines and head codes, express engines have 2 lamps on them, and that's what Gordon has because, well, he's an express engine. I love that attention to detail. And what else is there to say? Well, I guess that's kind of it for positives. Well, actually, no, there's one more. I like that these are blue. Unlike Henry, he actually has his steam pipes. Wait, is that what they're called? I'm not sure. If anyone knows, let me know in the comments down below. You can, like, correct me if I'm wrong. But I like that they're blue instead of black, like they are with Henry's. And the face is alright, I guess. It is a little bit strange, but I think it looks better on the toy than it does on the render. Alright, now that I talked about the good stuff, now I'm going to talk about the things I don't like about this model. For starters, I think Gordon looks a little bit too fat. Like, his boiler is much bigger than Henry's. Let me bring Henry out for a minute for comparison. Yeah, Gordon is, yeah. Yeah, it's clear to see Gordon is a little bit more chunkier than he is. Which also makes it look a little bit stranger. Like his face is bigger than bigger than his, which is really weird, but whatever. What else do I know? Like, I also don't like the tender, which pretty much goes for all the rest of the engines. Like his tender, again, they could have put an extra wheel in the middle, but they didn't because, I don't know, I guess they didn't feel like it. But not only that, his tender is too short. It should be taller, but it's not. Also, it's plastic. And so is the rest of his body, other than the boiler. The boiler's the only metal part. Everything else is plastic. Let me get Henry out of there. Everything else is plastic. And I really wish they made him full metal. I really don't see why they couldn't make the tender metal. Surely it couldn't have been that hard, whatever. Speaking of the tender, the buffers on the tender, there's like two things wrong with them. Not only are the buffers not painted, they aren't even the right shape either. Like, look. Gordon's buffers on the front are his correct oval-shaped ones. But on the back, they're round. There's like two things wrong with him. Honestly, I don't know why. They could have they couldn't even make them the right shape. Like, it's one thing to not paint them, but to at least keep the shape consistent or something, you know? Another thing I don't like about this is his length. Like he's shorter than Henry, I'm pretty sure. Bring him back out. Yeah, wait, hold on. Yep. Oh yeah, Gordon is definitely shorter than Henry. I don't know why. I wish they made him the same length because they're supposed to be around the same size, I'm pretty sure. But here, yeah, Gordon is a little bit shorter than him. I think that's also probably because his tender is a little closer to his cab than Henry's is, which is probably why it doesn't turn as well like Henry's does. Yeah, there's more articulation with Henry's tender than there is with Gordon's, which is kind of disappointing, but it's whatever, I suppose. Yeah, while I still have Henry here, I want to test the magnets out. Yep, magnets are still pretty good. Only one way though, which is very upsetting. But that's just simply how they work, I guess. And yeah, there's not much more to say about Gordon. I think I went over everything. Now let's get into the comparisons. Alright, so now let's compare him to my take-along Gordon. And yeah, the difference is night and day with these guys. For starters, he's definitely bigger than the take-along Gordon. Yep, he's way bigger than him. He's longer than him, of course, which is pretty obvious. I mean, of course he's going to be longer. He has the right wheels. This one doesn't. Due to size constraints, he couldn't have all 12 of his wheels together. But at least he has the right amount of tender wheels. So I can't say the same about this Gordon. Plus, Gordon is actually way lighter than I thought he would be. I expected him to be a little heavier than this, but he's not. Unlike his take-along Gordon, which is heavier than he is. And also something I forgot to mention is that Gordon doesn't even have a whistle on him. Like the take-along Gordon has a whistle, this one doesn't. I totally forgot to mention that. Like, everyone, while they're unpainted, they at least have whistles, but Gordon's is just, yeah, it's absent. I get the feeling they probably didn't have enough room for it, but I'm sure they could have, like, I don't know, made it like Henry's or something, and just be like a little stub, maybe. Yeah, even if it might not look like a whistle, but it's something at least. But yeah, if that's one thing I will give this take-along Gordon. It's better because it has all the tender wheels, but at the same time it's missing one pair of wheels on Gordon himself. That's like one thing they're missing. Like, one is missing tender wheels, and one is missing a pair of trailing wheels. I mean, leading wheels, not trailing wheels. Yeah, that's pretty much all there's to say about my take-along Gordon. I was comparing to my take-and-play Gordon. This Gordon, I think this one is probably this is my favorite diecast Gordon out of all the Gordons. I mean, this one's pretty good too, but this one will always be one of my favorites. Now, unlike the take-along Gordon, this one actually does have the correct oval-shaped buffers like this one. But also, unlike this one has the correct buffers on the back, which this one doesn't. Also, I forgot to mention about the cabs. The cabs are hollow where you can see the inside, which this Gordon doesn't have. I completely forgot to mention that. His cab is completely sealed off, which is, again, disappointing. I don't think we'll ever see hollow cabs again for the tender engines, or any of the engines for that matter. But it is what it is, I suppose. Both the magnets work pretty well. Nope, don't want to bring him back in. Something I will say though is that this Gordon does have a better detailed whistle than a take-along Gordon. And again, no whistle, so yeah, he kind of loses in that category. But he does win in the detail category because he does have a good amount of details on him. He has the handrails, and also the railing that also extends to the boiler, albeit it's not painted, but it's still there. Once again, colored feed pipes and express code, which this one doesn't have, though to be fair, he didn't have an express code in the series by the time this came out, so that's understandable. But he does have a painted cylinder, or piston cylinder, which this one doesn't. His is just red. And that's it for my take-and-play Gordon. Now, let's compare him to the last diecast Gordon I own. My all-engines go push-along Gordon, and right off the bat, I already like this one a lot better than this Gordon. On one hand, this Gordon doesn't have the right amount of wheels. He has the James wheel configuration, the 240 wheel configuration, the 260 wheel configuration, which is not what Gordon is supposed to have, but he has it. His tender has 4 wheels, just like this one, but his tender is too short, and it just doesn't look good. Their faces aren't that different. Like, they both have blue eyes, though his eyebrows are much thicker than his eyebrows. And this Gordon is taller than this Gordon, which also goes for a lot of the all-engines go push-alongs. They're all taller than the majority of the diecast because the all-engines go range in general for both motorized and diecast are generally bigger, as they aimed for a younger audience. These two do not connect because this one has the hooks, unlike this one, which has magnets. So you can't connect those two. And just like with this Gordon's buffers are also inconsistent because he has circle buffers on his tender. I really don't understand why they did that. It couldn't have been that much effort to get it right, surely. And these are all just extra details I added to the Gordon. Like, these obviously aren't on the default toy. And again, the proportions on this Gordon overall, I just don't like them. I much rather the ones on this Gordon. They're much more appealing to look at. And that's pretty much it. So, my final thoughts on this Gordon is he's cool, but also definitely has his flaws. He's in the okay category, but like just on the edge of good and like on the edge of okay. He's in the in-between. Because while there are some things I like about him, there are also a couple things I don't like about him. A couple things Henry definitely does better, specifically in terms of like the length and how big he is and all that. And that's pretty much all I have to say for the Diecast Gordon. If you want to pick this up, I'd recommend doing it. It's a pretty good looking toy. And I gotta say, that darker blue really separates him from Thomas. I mean, just look at that. They look pretty good together. They're also pretty good scaling wise. Actually, I take that back. I think Gordon is looks a little bit too fat when he's right next to Thomas. Yeah, I really do wish they made him skinnier, but that's it for this video. I hope you all enjoyed this review. If you did, make sure to subscribe to my channel and comment down below if you want to see any more videos from me, like more review videos and tons of other things. Anyways, I'll see you all next time. Goodbye.